You fooled all the people with magic. Yeah, you waited on Satan's call. It's VGC, the video game podcast, episode 131, with me, Jordan Midler, and Andy Robinson. This week, Pokemon presents Outer Worlds 2, and can you unlaunch a game? But first, how's it going in living color and 4K? Andy Robinson.
Hello, mate. It's today is Friday, which is the best day, but it's also my last work day for 3 weeks.
Hell
so it's
yeah.
the best Friday.
This
is the Friday that we save and diet and mentally train for 6 months before going off the rails completely.
So obviously, as no one will be surprised to know, you're going to Japan. Have you got the admin down pat? Is it not even?
I have got spreadsheets akimbo. I am dual wielding spreadsheets, which means I can't use grenades, so it's a tactical decision. Yes, it is planned to the minutest of details. But it's you have to, from experience, you have to be a bit careful with that though, because you need some time to actually have fun and relax rather than going here, we're doing this, we're booking that.
The thing for me is I used to think it was quite fanciful and quite privileged, the fact that for a couple of years, me, mum and my dad, we went to Cancun in a row, like 3 years in a row, because my mum got made redundant, got a big payoff from the AA. How do your kids deal with the fact that they're just regularly in Japan? That would blow my tiny mind.
Well, they're just spoiled kids, aren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, you won't know until they're grown up, I don't think. But it's that's important to me, is to take them on vacation and have memories, and lots of people say that, and I'm not sure many people listen, that you should focus on building memories rather than building your house and things like that and your car.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I focus on. So the hope is that they actually do remember it, because when they were younger, there's a serious risk of that. We took them when they were 1 and 2, I think. So they don't remember that. So hopefully the core memories are established now. I'm trying to inspire them to leave the UK. Like, look what you could have won.
Amazing.
Take me.
It's not much inspiration needed. If it didn't cost conservatively about 50 grand, I think I'd have moved to Finland by now. But because why
don't we just me and you just move to Finland?
Yeah. I mean, I was going to say establish a games media empire, but there's a good little local games media scene over in Finland, which I appreciate. The thing for me is my early memories of going on holiday is my mum and dad just sitting at the pool and me being told to piss off and like find my own fun, and that's when you go and meet mates and stuff like that, and you go and play football on the beach and stuff like that. I can't imagine that in a modern unsafe world, but I suppose Japan is so unbelievably safe that you must feel pretty confident being over there.
Oh yeah, that's the best thing. That's the absolute best thing about, for me, as a family taking young children, is that it's totally, totally safe. I mean, last year we were at Hanabi, like summer festivals, and you just like send them to a stall to get a drink, and they disappear behind thralls of like hundreds of people. And if you're in the UK, you're like, your trigger goes, because you're used to, you got to keep them in sight, but it's like, it's so totally safe. I mean, I've been to America 4 times a year for 20 odd years. My missus has never been to America, which says a lot. I love my time going there, but I would not take my children to stroll around Skid Row,
walking past places called Leo's.
Okay, like, of course, that's like a generalization, but it's still like, you can legitimately walk home in the middle of the city at 11 o'clock at night. And explore and have no issues whatsoever.
Yeah.
So it's very nice now. But of course, like it's a great place for kids and big kids anyway. Like the number of theme parks and shops and theme cafes and kind of beautiful tourist attractions. And we try to do different things, especially now that we've been quite a few times, and I have Japanese friends and friends who live in Japan, and so we try and to stay away from the touristy things, especially now that it's you cannot move for people with GoPros. But yeah, no, very excited. Looking forward to getting back for a couple of weeks.
I was in your neck of the woods last week. Last week's podcast was recorded early, and then I jetted down to London to see Stray Kids at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. First of all, 45 quid a t-shirt. That's just normal now, apparently, for what is presumably a t-shirt that cost the band like £3 to make. But that aside, getting home from Spurs Stadium, an absolute riot. So we knew what the last song was. The second it finished, I grabbed Laura and we were going. We were like full on sprinting towards Northumberland Park. And when we got there, the people were starting to say like, this is almost at capacity. We're going to need to like close this down. We got on the train and then checked Twitter and it was like, Northumberland Park is closed and Seven Sisters is over capacity. So they're not letting people in. It's just... when they built that stadium, how did they not demolish most of the houses around it and make like a mega transport hub? Like, it's ridiculous. It's such a good stadium.
Well, yeah, that's the thing is that, I mean, obviously I'm a West Ham supporter, so there's quite a kind of neat and tidy comparison there that they have probably the best football stadium, certainly in the country. But it's in exactly the same place as where the last one was. Whereas we have a stadium that's not a football stadium, it's an athletic stadium that's kind of awkwardly converted, but it's in a town that's been custom built for the Olympics.
Yeah.
You know, new transport lines and everything. Like it's one of the best connected places in Europe, Stratford. And we take it for granted when I've had other football supporters mention to us that, yeah, I came to your stadium and it was amazing that I could leave and get on a train. And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that's actually an issue going to football stadiums. It's not just Spurs. It's same with Arsenal, Man City.
Yeah.
If you've got a 60,000 seater stadium, it's a big footfall, right? You've got to get a lot of people there safely. I don't even think it's realistic to ask or expect anyone building a football stadium to do anything about the transport links because they can't, right? I mean, especially in London, that stadium costs like what, 1-2 billion?
Oh yeah.
How much is it going to cost? They're going to knock the houses down to build a line. They just can't, right? But you know, that's the choice that you make. Yeah, lovely stadium, but everything around it is not fit for purpose. Whereas we can stroll down and have a gin and tonic on a canal boat in a hipster bar, and then go to Europe's biggest shopping centre.
Hell of a show. A lot of the band got quite emotional because it's a South Korean band and obviously Tottenham's huge over there because of Sun, and they
that's all they bloody care about, man.
On the day of the show, they released a new Spurs away top, which is just the normal Spurs away top, which retails for about £90, but the sponsor said Stray Kids and they wanted £250 for the exact same top with a different print on the front of it, and it sold out before we even got to the stadium. So for some reason these K-pop children, and they were
all
mostly
part
children.
Of the problem, mate.
Yeah.
All part of the problem.
Money. Speaking of money, thank you so much to our Patreon season ticket holders on patreon.com/Video Games Chronicle, including brand new season ticket holder. Welcome to the club: Justin Keeling, Vicious, Tanner Santos, Serkin Toto, Shay Dougal, Matt Huggins, Martimus Prime, Ryan Gabane, Sam Biggs, Hugh Overend, Ginger Jotun, and Mark Edmonds. Programming note: next week is the long-awaited return of Mr. Chris Scullion. If he makes it back from Japan, we'll see. He's been to the Sega shop, he's been to the Nintendo Museum, and I'm sure he will have thoughts. But first, Sony number one. Microsoft has reversed plans to price its next big RPG, The Outer Worlds 2, at $80. The game's due for release on October 29th and will now cost $70. An Xbox spokesperson has said, quote, "We're focused on bringing players incredible worlds to explore and will keep our full-priced holiday releases, including The Outer Worlds 2, at $69.99 in line with current market conditions." Andy, as my take immediately was, well, this is going to sell a shed load on PS5, and those players would probably be put off comparing that to Ghost of Yotei, which will also be 70 rather than 80. What was your take on this?
I mean, probably clearly pre-orders have not gone as well as they hoped. It's a bit of an embarrassing U-turn, really.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like in the context of they announced that it was going to be their entire slate, right, going forward was going to be $80. It's you've got other games coming out around it as well, which doesn't help, that are not going with that price, like Borderlands 4, for example.
Yep.
Ghost of Yote, I know it's not on the same platform, but I think possibly they were trying to guess which direction the wind was blowing, and it didn't work out that way. I mean, certainly earlier this year, it kind of felt like with all of the tariffs kind of like churning, and Nintendo announcing their $80 games, and everyone had like the talk all the first half of this year was like about how everything is going to double in price. Right?
I was shocked Yote wasn't the one that Sony used to go to 80, because that will be a huge game regardless.
Yeah, so perhaps they've guessed wrong on that one, and the pre-orders have probably not gone so well, and they've decided they're better off to lower it for now and park that one. It's very difficult right now to guess how any AAA game is going to perform. I think Borderlands is a huge franchise, probably bigger than anyone gives it credit for.
Yeah.
I mean, this game absolutely prints money. It's one of the biggest third-party games there is. So you would imagine that it doesn't need to be like I don't see why the Outer Worlds what was the game they had out earlier this year? Avowed, yeah, did really really well on Game Pass as well. Like it just feels like perhaps they've decided that it's no point to rock the boat at this point, and then maybe they start $80 price point with more of a sure thing. And by that I mean Forza Horizon.
Yeah,
you're going to buy it, right?
Yeah.
It's sort of like Nintendo knew you're going to buy Mario Kart regardless of where we put it on there. Whereas Outer Worlds 2, there's a lot of people who are not going to buy that. 80, like it's not as strong.
Yeah, it's a Borderlands.
Yeah.
I think that it's the pre-order chat to me was interesting, because in a digital world, I didn't think pre-orders would have been that big a deal, because in a situation where I'm going to pick up a game, it's usually like the day before. I'm like, oh, the preload's open now, I'll pre-order it now. But I was obviously in the physical era, you were kind of using pre-orders to judge what kind of physical copies to get into a shop. But it is a weird like a bump in the road for a game that seemingly has pretty good momentum behind it. But I think you're probably going to look at 80 when it comes to like Forza, maybe the new Gears of War, your Fables and stuff like that. But we'll see kind of as it goes down the line. What do you think? We talked about when Mafia announced that it's being kind of reduced. Do you expect publishers to explore the scale a bit more, especially now that Nintendo has their weird?
Oh, of course. I mean, they've been doing that for a long time, right? It's not. How long has it been since there have been kind of special editions that cost $100 and offer 3 days early access? And this is a well entrenched, understood model right now. At launch, the median price is not $70. It's probably much higher. But also in the defense of people who don't want to play that, AAA games come down in price rapidly, right? Yeah. Unless you're a Nintendo, you can buy a lot of these games for dirt cheap just months after launch. Yeah. They're discounted very, very soon. It's very much a pricing the early adopters situation, with the $80 price points. So I think it's more like you just need to change hearts and minds, right? I think it's a very subtle thing. I can totally see both sides of the argument. In our jobs, we try, be impartial and look at things from all sides. From the game developers' point of view, game publishers' point of view, with inflation, with rising costs, game prices have gone down.
Yeah.
Loads. I mean, I was paying 60, 70, well, my parents were paying 60, 70 quid for games for me 30 years ago. How much is that in today's money? A lot more than $80. But also from the consumer's point of view, their cost of living is also way higher than it was 30 years ago, right? You can almost accept paying 60, 70 pounds for a game, for a Mega Drive game, in the 90s, because your mortgage was comparatively, pennies compared to what it is now. Your groceries were comparatively small. So it's a difficult balance. So I do think Nintendo is probably right with, as much as it's only like a buzzword, the variable pricing thing. Probably these days, it's you can't really. I mean, but it's all. we especially like us in our little bubble in the core games space, we're directed a lot of the time by these buzzwords and initiatives and things like that, right? The variable game pricing. Variable game pricing has been a thing for years as well, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's games come out at like 40 quid and 20 quid and 70 quid and 80 quid. And that will continue to be the situation, I think, until we certainly the industry works out what its new model is, because we're in just a period of really disruptive change right now. Half of everyone are playing the same 10 games. And then, the old model of releasing like a new thing that you consume and move on, or games with ends, as they call them, games that end. They're kind of trying to work out what that looks like going forward now. So you're going to see publishers try things, like Microsoft has done, and they've presumably, learned from this and will, kind of implement it a bit more elegantly the next time it comes around.
Looking forward to it, Worlds 2. On Donkey Kong, when I was down in London, and I could not believe how big Nintendo are going on the marketing for that game. I walked past multiple shops that their entire shop front had been like pasted over with Donkey Kong stuff, and it was all over the TV adverts and stuff like that. I think you're muted.
Oh, sorry.
That's all
right. I'd be really keen to know what our listeners think of the game. By the way, I've seen lots of feedback on social media, but not so many from our listeners. And usually you get like the extremes of either side on social media, right?
Yeah.
And all I've been seeing is people saying it's one of the best Nintendo games of all time.
Yeah.
And it's very clearly like obliterates Mario Odyssey. And I just think that's absolute madness. I mean, don't get me wrong, I loved it. It's a great game. I almost hate it, right? I said this last week with Alex. I almost hate that I had to review this game, because you have to be critical about it and, kind of hold it up to another great game. And in the end of the day, it's a brilliant game. And if I wasn't reviewing it, that would be the end of the conversation. But I'm kind of surprised that some people think it's one of the best games of all time, because I just think I loved it. It's not one of the best games of all time. I don't think we're going to be talking about it in 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really the social media chatter, the amount of people that I've seen. Jan from Giant Bomb, I'm thinking about this one specifically. He was like, I've played this for 5 minutes and it's my game of the year. And I'm like, what is this? I've not touched it. Preview stages, at any point, I have not played this game. I'm going to get it for a couple of trips that are coming up. And I'm like, is this game just mad? It reminds me of the way people were talking about Clair Obscure before I played it. They're like, this is the best thing I've ever played.
I'm going to be really interested to see how it sells as well. Because, with the DK brand, can it have the same legs as Mario? I mean, Mario in itself has only recently 3D Mario been really huge with the Switch games. And also, I don't think it's probably not as accessible as Mario Odyssey. Like, certainly, and I know this is not a great barometer, we being anecdotal about it, but certainly my daughters have barely touched it, and they finished Mario Odyssey start to finish, loved it. Maybe it's more of a boys thing as well.
Yeah. Well, I suppose, I could potentially see that. I think it's also, do kids interesting games go up or down during the summer? Are they out playing rather than sitting in and playing games? This is maybe a fanciful idea.
Well, the idea, I mean, the reason Nintendo released their consoles for summer is so they can get the school holidays.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Or maybe it'll go up obviously go up for Christmas, but it's interesting. We didn't put it in the news this week, but ridiculous stats coming out that Mario Kart, the Switch 2 Mario Kart game was the most played by monthly users across both Switch 2 and Switch 1, beating Fortnite. It's they have made, and every single.
By the way, do you see, on a little aside from that, right, that I found more interesting, the latest Sakana numbers on the US market. Some people online worked out the split, because obviously they said how many kind of Switch 2 sold, how many units, and then I think they kind of say they release proportionally, it sold 3 times more than PS5 or whatever, and some people online kind of worked it out. Switch 1 outsold Xbox Series in the US last month.
Jesus. I mean,
during Switch 2's launch month.
Are they not?
Probably
Didn't Dringo say they're like not making that console anymore? Like, is it not a case that basically
you look at the numbers and you can understand why?
Yeah,
I mean that is mad. That's their market as well.
That's like Japan numbers. Like when we get the Famitsu numbers.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. I mean, it's still it's still selling, but it's it's being out. That's mad. Outsold by Switch One.
Crazy. I'm looking forward to getting Donkey Kong and getting. Obviously, we're getting close to Pokemon time. We'll talk about Pokemon a little bit later on, but I really like playing the Switch too. Like, it's just a nice thing to hold.
It is nice, isn't it? Yeah, I've been playing it a little bit more recently because obviously we didn't get a chance at launch.
Yeah. Because
of the review situation, because of Summer Game Fest. And I've been playing it a bit more, and I do really like it. I bought Tony Hawk on it last night. Like, actually, I'm going to buy a game, a third-party game, right? That's a big deal. And then I ended up playing Balatro for 4 hours.
As you should. I'm such a Balatro on phone devotee now that when I go back to console,
I don't want to discover it.
We still need to get Chris Gillian on that muck. Story number 2. Splitgate 2 is unlaunching as developer 1048 Games cuts staff. The shooter was released in June and faced kind of low player numbers in its opening weeks, and now the studio has taken the game off sale to work on it further. Quote, "We believe in Splitgate 2, which is a message from the founders Ian Prulks and Nicholas Bagamain. We launched too early. We had ambitious goals with Splitgate 2 and our excitement to share it with you. We bit off more than we could chew. We rushed certain features, made some boneheaded mistakes, and more importantly, we didn't give you the polished, portal-filled mayhem you fell in love with. The game's going back into beta, and the team is going heads down until 2026. Bit of egg in their face for this one, but I think this is probably a kind of smart, self-effacing move, and before they would, because honestly I was counting down the days until Splitgate 2 is going offline story, but this is a slightly more positive spin on it.
I kind of feel sorry for the developers on this,
yeah,
because the leadership have obviously done their Summer Game Fest stunt with a stupid hat,
yeah,
and kind of been very ballsy in calling out other games in the genre, and then they've released like probably quite an ordinary game, which looked like it had a ton of microtransactions as well on day one. It seems like a little bit misjudged from the outside as someone who's not, kind of been avidly playing that game or at all, in fact. But that's the problem, yeah. It also, this is the difficulty of launching any kind of like an online service game these days, right? It's you're competing for people's time now. You can't. I mean, you need to be working on this thing in consort with your audience for years.
Yeah.
When you look at like the thing that I always think of, the example I always think of is how who makes remind me Hades developer
Supergiant.
I always confuse them with Supermassive.
Yeah.
How Supergiant make that game, right? They make it in consort with their audience for like a year.
Yep.
Like it in early access fashion. I just think you're really setting yourself up for success if you do that, and you're certainly really setting yourself up for challenge if you do not. Concord, if they'd have done that with Concord, it would have had way more chance, in my opinion. Like, I mean, it's tough, right?
Yeah, I think there's space in the live service world for smaller than Fortnite games to exist. Like, I think of something like Warframe, which has been going since the launch of the PS4, and it's still going strong. TennoCon's still happening every year. They just did their 10th anniversary of TennoCon, and they, despite ups and downs with the community in terms of where they're at with the game, they keep their scale reasonable. I don't know what scale Splitgate 2 was working on, but it was always a strange decision to me to kill Splitgate 1 while it was still popular in order to work on the second game. And I know that at the time they said it was because of technology decisions they made during making the first game that weren't kind of congruous with a massive live service title. But yeah, buried in this announcement was also the fact that they're taking the original game offline, which is sad because I had a lot of fun with Splitgate during the pandemic when that was when that just came out of nowhere. It's always fun when a game like that comes out of nowhere, but it seems to happen kind of. I say it happens less and less. I feel like it's happening in the TikTok space a lot. Like that game Peak, I don't know if you've seen that. It's like that's massive, and it just came out of basically nowhere, and it's kind of fueled by these viral moments. But yeah, I hope it's a I hope it's a big comeback, because the shooting model in that original game was really nice, and in a world where we get fewer and fewer of those, it was nice to see. We are going to, in the second half, talk about Sony's new power saving mode and Pokemon Presents. But would you like some breaking news, Andy?
Is it about Dying Light?
Dying Light the Beast has suffered an undescribably large delay. We have made the difficult decision to move the launch back 4 weeks to September 19th, 2025. It's news to me that game was coming out in August, but that's interesting.
That's a very late delay as well.
Yeah, maybe allow extra polish. Andy, you were on the dark side for a while. Obviously, you know the spin chat better than anyone. How much polish can one really achieve in a month? Is that game-breaking stuff? Or is that just,
it's difficult for me. I mean, it's been like nearly, Christ, when did I leave Platonic? Like 6 years. And in those days, it's still, 6 years is a long time ago, right?
Yeah, especially in games.
In video games, that's what I mean. Like, we'd still be leading on our box version, So if we're talking about a game that's coming out in a month, delaying it a month, then, the discs are printed, right?
Yeah.
You're basically delaying it so a day one patch can turn up. So it's different now. Probably these days they don't even put the bloody thing on the discs, right? So I don't think it's that case. It's probably, there's some stuff that they were going to add that they've now decided is more integral than they previously thought. It's difficult because they would have had mock reviews as well. Maybe it's like there's some performance issues, last minute issues that have come in that they don't want to hamper the launch. Like if you think of like the issue that you had with like Stalker and things like that at launch, like it would have benefited massively if they just like pushed that back a month and just sorted out a couple of performance issues. So maybe it's something like that.
They're going to take all the zombies out of it. They're going to make it a rhythm game. What I miss is when GeForce in Glasgow used to exist and they would break street dates regularly. For some reason, they got Assassin's Creed Unity like 2 weeks before it was meant to go on sale. They got it in the same. So the way it worked out, it was like Far Cry 4 came out at the start of the month and Assassin's Creed was meant to come out at the end of the month, but they just got their full Ubisoft shipment at the same time. So I got Assassin's Creed Unity 2 weeks early, and that game was absolutely broken beyond belief.
That's I don't know if it is anymore, but it was quite valuable for a time, wasn't it? Because the frame rate's unlocked in the disc version, so you could get it like on the newer consoles. It runs really nice because it isn't locked. That's quite an interesting point, actually, because that game to me felt like a turning point. Because obviously we got sent review code at the time, and in those days it still would have been on. I'm trying to think, that's a PS4 game, right?
PS4, yeah.
I don't know if it was on a disc or not, or whether they'd stopped then.
The old white and red discs, yeah.
We had no. We had like in the old days, like you're getting review code on a debug disc that ran on a debug console. I think so. I think it might have even been that. But that to me felt like a turning point because it's the first time I can remember because they told us, they're like, look, there's a day one patch, like a massive day one patch that's going to fix all of these issues. And you're playing it, you're reviewing it, and it was broken, right? Like you had like corpses floating in the air,
eyes popping out of the heads,
exactly.
Stuff,
It was broken. But in those days, when they told you that they were going to fix something in day one patch, they inevitably did, right? So it's funny looking back in hindsight, but at the time, you didn't really question it as a critic, or I certainly didn't. It wasn't even me reviewing it, I don't think, but we were looking at it. But I didn't question that. It's they'll fix it, right? It's always difficult even now, right? Because you're like, are they going to fix it? Or are they not? Because there's cases of now where they kind of probably take you for a ride a little bit.
Yeah.
But that felt like to me the first time where there was before Assassin's Creed Unity and after, because after it was like, right, well now we can't trust developers who tell us that they're going to fix stuff in the day one patch because we don't actually know if they will.
Yeah, impressive game though. A lot of people on screen at the same time, which was pretty hard to do then.
It's almost like a shame that game was so. I don't want to say panned because a lot of people liked it, but
mocked online. It became a meme, which is the difficult thing.
Yeah. It's almost a shame because they kind of moves away from that. Was almost like that. I mean, they had different teams working on different Assassin's Creed games. I'm trying to think who even was that one, right? Because Quebec City did Syndicate, which is the one that came afterwards, I believe.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Montreal. So I think it was actually Montreal. But it really did feel like they took a detour after that. That game was about more detail in a reasonably sized environment. And then afterwards they went, oh no, let's just do like less and big. And I do think probably a lot of people would like to see them go back to that sort of thing now. It's great, right? You could, like, even you look at it now, it holds up.
Yeah.
That is a pretty game. The amount of people in the streets, NPCs, you can like seamlessly like run through living rooms and out of windows and across trees. And it's a really pretty game. The
parkour model was much better back then. Like it was obviously very like hidden on rails. Like you're essentially just holding forward and pressing A, but it's better than at least what they've had recently. I thought Shadows did quite well with stuff like that. Like the actual movement in Shadows is a lot better. But revisionist history for the Assassin's Creed franchise. When we come back, PlayStation news, Pokemon news, and we'll see if any more games have been delayed in my email. We'll see you in a minute. And we are back. Remember, you can get more podcasts, videos, and extra content on VGC at patreon.com/videogames chronicle. Story number 3, Sony's new power saver mode will scale back performance of supported PS5 titles. Now, this is a strange little addition in the new PlayStation 5 firmware, which Sony claims is part of their Road to Zero environmental initiative, just like when folding at home entirely cured cancer. Thanks for that. The feature doesn't actually work during this beta, but when it launches, supported PS5 games will, quote, scale back performance and allowing your PS5 to reduce its power consumption. Now, you may say that's a heavy, boring story, but this is in the context of support for a PS handheld, which Digital Foundry have routinely said exists, is on the way. Do you think these two are linked, Andy? Because how else would a handheld?
Yeah, I do possibly, because it's a weird feature, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, my initial thought was that maybe it was some sort of broader Sony initiative where they've like mandated this, like, look, we need to politically be able to say that, you know, we're one of the leaders in you know, kind of reducing the energy cost of our devices and blah 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 blah. Because it seems mad, right? Yeah. Like on the surface, like, could you like give these people who spent £700 on a console in some cases like the ability to throttle it down? What? So maybe that. I mean, we're in the realms of big speculation, right?
Let's do it.
Yeah. So maybe
bring it back.
I don't know.
The PS Vita 2. That's what we need. The greatest handheld there ever was. See, when I hold this now compared to modern handhelds, this thing's tiny. How did people ever play stuff like this?
That screen's so nice as always. OLED,
yeah,
right?
This is the OLED one. The revision is an LCD, but this is an OLED.
Mad. Like, Switch 2 doesn't have an OLED.
Yeah.
PS Vita does.
You know what the Switch 2 doesn't have? Back touch. The greatest feature ever was.
It feels like a piece of technology that came before everything started getting worse.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like before capitalism was like, you know, profit at all costs. Let's make a lovely device, right? That's going to push everything forward. Whereas now it's like, what can we get for cheap off the shelf? What can we cut?
There is a PS Vita cartridge in this. Would you like to speculate what it is? I don't actually know. I think it's probably Persona 4 Golden, or maybe Uncharted Golden Abyss.
Well, I have no idea what you played on PS Vita, so I'll go with yours.
It is Persona 4 Golden. Proper game, that.
Very good.
Proper game. Yeah, I would love a new PlayStation handheld. The ability to play PS5 games, I think that's a weird sticking point. But if they can do it, it would have to be it'd be very expensive, I expect. But it's something I could add into my life. Because
it's going to happen, isn't it? It's going to happen. I mean, even though the kind of like the third party handheld PC market is tiny compared to what Switch is doing, it kind of like makes a lot of sense with you know, modern player habits and the fact that they're competing for people's time, right? That if you can get your games onto these handheld devices, then suddenly you gain access to people different times of day, you know, with their commutes and things like that. So I absolutely believe that It's coming. Yeah, 100%.
They should use the panel they use for the Portal because it's so nice. I played so much of Death Stranding 2 on the Portal, like doing like little side missions and stuff, and it's such a clean screen. Like it looked, I know it's not,
it's beautiful.
It's not OLED or whatever, but it's super, super nice. For those mentalists, they restocked a lot of the 30th anniversary stuff. None of the stuff you'd actually want. They're never going to sell that Pro again, and they're not selling the DualSense Edge, which is annoying. Speaking of the DualSense Edge, this is a good time for me to vent my frustration. The plastic on the DualSense Edge or the rubber rather, has completely peeled away.
God.
Like I just hold this like a normal person, and it's like completely peeled away at the bottom. And this is a hell.
I think you're mad that you're even using it.
Why? It's the best feeling controller in the market.
No, I mean the limit. That's a special edition, yeah.
No. This is just the white. This is standard white. This is the bog standard.
It's your lighting.
Yeah, it makes everything look.
Yeah, that's
great.
weird. Mine's fine. I use mine all the time.
Yeah, I don't know. So mine also is the first controller I've had to have stick drift, because of FIFA, because you're spending so much time just holding it.
Wow, you've absolutely battered that thing.
I really have.
What have you been doing?
It's FIFA, because at high level FIFA you are, first of all, extremely angry constantly, but you're also
that sounds about right.
You're holding the stick at absolute lefts and rights all the time, so you're putting like extra pressure on it. I noticed it in Death Stranding when I was playing the game and Sam was just like running to the side. I was like, no, that's finally happened to me. I've never had Switch stick drift, never on a DualSense, and now the Edge humped me. Sad. Yeah, PS5 handheld. I'm sure they will do it. I think this is a weird. This reminds me of like PS3 Sony though. Like if you open up a PS3 menu now and go through the settings, that thing did so much random shite that they never ever used. Use a printer with the PS3 printer settings, good stuff. What was it like? I know you've told the story about you laughing at it when it came in, but what was the kind of weeks after it like, with people being like, "What is this thing? Why can we do all this stuff? Why does it get 80 SD card slots in it?"
Because it came out, you got to keep. I'm trying to transport myself 20 years here.
Was it 05 in Japan?
Yeah, because it came out in Japan way before, and then even the US I think was maybe like 6 months before. So I think it came out April or March 2006, something like that. In it might even be was it 06 or 07?
I'm going to tell you right now. It came out.
It might be
it came out in Japan on November 11th, 2006, in North America in November 17th, 2006, and in PAL March 23rd, 2007.
Yeah, that's insane. Yeah. So 360 had been out 18 months almost already. So this thing came, I just remember they had the PSW magazine would have been with us, and they imported a Japanese one. And then what happens is you get new consoles, you get a load of like cynical journalists like kind of standing around. Like, they've walked over to have a look, and there's a guy on their menu, and he's like, "This is rubbish." It's like, I think everyone was just looking at like some firmware being installed. Like, it's like, what the hell is this? I mean, F360 was like well established by that point. Had like some decent games. It worked. PS3 took a couple of years to get into its stride, right?
It really did. It wasn't until that first revision, that slim PS3 to me is the
which
era.
Is horrific.
The
horrible little flappy plastic thing.
No, that's the super slim. The first slim is the like matte kind of one.
Yeah, I know. I could still break that.
Yeah, you could. To
be fair, I could break my 360 just by using it.
The little slide one used to sit under my desk in the PS4 era, and I would just open and close it with my feet as like a fidget toy.
It's so bad.
Yeah.
So bad, that thing.
Absolutely. And it was so easy to open that flap when it was playing. Like, you could just touch it and it would fly off to the side and your game would be spinning. Like, I love the PS3. What a shit little console that they totally ignore. Story number 4, a little roundup from the Pokemon Presents new ZA gameplay with Mega Dragonite debuting. They showed a little bit of the misadventures of Surfetched and Pichu, which is the new animation from the Wallace and Gromit people, Aardman. I think that's going to be massive. I saw people on our Discord being like, my kids have just watched the Surfetched and Pichu trailer over and over again, and it was just a Wooloo standing eating. So I think they're really going to do well with stuff like that. Did your kids watch Pokemon Concierge, that Netflix series?
It's really good.
Yeah. New season of that
great,
coming out as well.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
There's a Switch 2 bundle for ZA, which I assume is going to replace the Mario Kart one. Thank the Lord it's not a special console, because I'm stupid enough to have bought it. It's just a normal console.
No, they're saving those for when they need you to buy even more Switch 2s.
Yeah, it'll be Generation 10. They'll do the fancy one. There was an arcade in Glasgow that had the Scarlet and Violet Switch 2 sitting for so long, and someone eventually won it. And I was like, oh man, I kind of wish I got that. But the Switch is a weird console to do fancy versions of, because my Switch would just sit in its thing, so it doesn't matter if there's stuff on the back of it. I'm never going to see it.
I mean, that's the money now. That's really like peripherals and stuff. That's the money.
Yeah.
Did you see they sold half a million Pro controllers in the US last month?
And there were 85 quid over there.
Right. But you got to just look at that and then just ponder for a second that they've not released any Joy-Con variants yet.
Yeah, it's going to be mad. That's the reason that Sony has really ramped up the DualSense variations. Like, it was pretty slow going at the start, and then they were like, "Oh, we actually sell tons of these, so virtually every big game gets a special
it's like
DualSense
profit.
Yeah,
those peripherals. It's a big market.
Yeah, apparently the normal PS5 covers shouldn't be compatible with the PS5 Pro, but someone replied to me on Blue Sky saying you can just cover one of the holes with a bit of tape and it works. So I think I'm gonna do that. I think you should do this. This is I know you've got with one of your side plates, but I like the idea of getting them signed by developers, or getting an artist, like a game artist, to draw on the white side plates.
That feels old school, like, because the real kind of the best console customization was the 360 face plates.
Yeah.
And I remember the launch party, they had one of the artists involved with Gorillaz, the band Gorillaz.
Oh, really? Wow.
Who and they made like a whole wall of 360 faceplates, and then like he did some art, and then they gave them out to like people, and they're like numbered and stuff. I've still got it somewhere. I've got loads of useless faceplates. Got like an Alan Wake one in the loft.
Oh yeah.
The best one, it's on behind here somewhere. It's the one they gave away at the announcement, E3 2005. Faceplate. Yeah, they're cool. Bring back faceplates.
For some reason, I used to really covet, and I think it's because the magazines talked it up so much. Do you remember the yellow 360 they made for the Simpsons game? They made like one of 5 of them or whatever. It was a yellow 360.
Yeah, but you know what? Like, I've got a bee in my bonnet about this stuff, right? So you're going to set me off, yeah? So there's a website I really like. I'm friends with the guy who edits it as well, Console Variations.
Great site.
And he kind of like obviously like catalogs the rarest consoles, but a lot of the ones on he's like, oh, this is the rarest, one of one Simpsons 360. It's like, the marketing team just phoned up a geezer and got him to make that console.
Yeah.
Like, we really need to have a stronger threshold on what counts as a limited edition, because when you see half this stuff, like, oh, look, there's a Sonic the Hedgehog controller. It's the marketing team that have paid like a fan or some customization firm or a car company to spray paint a 360, right? They're not like, unless they were manufacturing, came off of the factory conveyor belt with the others. In my mind, they are not like, they're not. I mean, there are ones that I commissioned that people like ukulele PS4 and Xbox One. It's like, we paid someone to paint them.
Yeah.
It's a custom job. It's not.
So you would count like the the PS5 Pro 30th anniversary, the 20th anniversary PS4, stuff like that. Yeah, stuff that was.
If he doesn't come in a special box.
So you wouldn't count the gold Wii that they sent to the Queen?
Yeah, 100%. I would not. Again, that's not come from Nintendo. It's like THQ or something, right? They've paid some guy to goldify it and sent it off as a stunt. In fact, I wouldn't. I mean, I can't remember that video, the details of that video anymore. But I wouldn't be surprised. Like, they say they tried to send it. Right?
They sent it, but it didn't get.
In those
past the
in those
gates.
days, that's a nice press release that people are going to pick up on launch week.
I think it was People Make Games that made that video.
No, that's absolutely not. No way. Like. Again, I told you I got to be in my bonnet for this. I could go and like make a Silverfire Wii and go, oh, now my one's the rarest. It's the same thing.
We should start spray painting PS5s orange and make them the VGC variation. Give them out to very esteemed developers. The video on People Make Games about console variations is great, and the gold Wii, basically, if you send post to the royal family, if it's a letter, they'll like scan it to make sure it isn't made from anthrax, and it will maybe go to her, like, well, God rest her, his man in waiting or whatever. But if you send like something that's essentially a computer that could hide a bomb, they're not going to give it to the Queen, are they? On a side note, you know how Trump's been gifted a plane for the new Air Force One. I saw a thing on a podcast that was like, by the time the US disassembles it to make sure it's not made of bombs, Trump will be out of office. Like, that's how long it's going to take to verify it as Air Force One. So, what a country. Watch that new episode of South Park. It's fantastic.
It's amazing.
Finally, for Pokemon, Pokepark Kanto, Yomimori Land, is that how you pronounce it? It is a small section of that park that they have turned into basically what is a test bed for a proper Pokemon theme park expansion, and oh my god, it looks amazing.
I think it looks a bit rubbish.
It looks. I think so. The still Pokemon in the forest, I think that's a bit gimmicky. The buildings, there's a big. You're going to keep me right here. There is a big Ferris wheel either in that park or near it, and people have been going on the Ferris wheel to take pictures of the construction, and that stuff looks brilliant. Like, it looks like Universal quality, where all the buildings are authentically
it's the biggest franchise on Earth.
Yeah.
I bloody like they should have a theme park,
a proper real theme Pokemon.
Park. Not we've put a small section on the side of this niche, kind of resort just outside of Tokyo for you. They should have their own section, at the very least their own world at Universal. I mean, maybe you know more about that. I imagine you do. I'm kind of shocked that this is not a well-established thing, because people are flying to Japan to go to the Pokemon theme park, right? They're doing it.
As far as I'm aware, it's the same reason that they've been so hesitant to launch Pokemon centers outside of Japan, because they are a company that obviously they take any kind of failure or embarrassment as the absolute worst thing that could possibly happen. So when the Pokemon Center in New York closed because Pokemon was in a real dip in the kind of Ruby and Sapphire era and turned into the Nintendo store, they took that really personally, and they're like, well, let's just refocus on what we know. Japan, everything's Japan. And even then, they did I think it was called Pokepark, which was a traveling kind of attraction around the Ruby and Sapphire era, and that didn't do well either. So there's always been a hesitation to move forward with something like this. However, now that Masuda is leading it, I think that this is very much a test bed for what's coming next. Obviously, there's a lot of chat about a potential Pokemon theme park ride opening in Nintendo in Japan, which I think is inevitable. Also, we're in a holding period here because, and this is part of the reason why the Pokemon Presents the other day was quite disappointing to a lot of people. Next year is the 30th anniversary. Next year is when you're going to get all the announcements. You're going to get the announcement of the next generation. You're going to get the announcement of what they're doing with World's going forward, and I think you're probably going to get the announcement about the theme park ride in Japan. So it will happen eventually. As you say, it is literally the biggest property in the history of humanity. So all things will come to pass eventually, and they are so focused now on kind of getting the next generation of kids entrenched in it while keeping the old bastards like me happy. So, Andy, in terms of like, not, do the parks in Japan have enough space to expand, or would it have to be knocking down something?
Well, as one of the few people in the world that you could speak to who's actually been behind the scenes at Universal Japan, watching the guy put the Donkey Kong costume on, etc.
Shigeru Miyamoto.
No, it doesn't seem like there's much room to build there now. I mean, when they built Nintendo World, the area for Donkey Kong was already like kind of earmarked. But they do have a history, I think, of kind of revamping areas. I'm trying to think what they would possibly shake in Japan side, because it's like Harry Potter, which is obviously big and is going to be huge with HBO.
Yeah, that's going nowhere.
And they've got like a Minions zone and like a kids thing, like a Sesame Street. I can't really think what they would lose. I mean, Jurassic Park is massive as well. I mean, like in California, they've got like a whole Simpsons area, and they've sort of like lost the right. Obviously, it's being bought by Disney, So it's natural that you could look at that and say, well, they could put something there. But yeah, so maybe that's an issue.
Yeah, I think because it's Pokemon, they would make it work. I'm looking at the map now. Obviously, as you say, Nintendo, they probably want to keep it with a Nintendo section, and that's like sandwiched between Harry Potter and Waterworld. So,
Waterworld's great.
Maybe they bin off Waterworld and make it a Pokemon section where you're going underwater with Gyarados and shit like that. I'm gonna lose my mind. I really want to go to the Poke Park next year. Like, I'm going to Japan next year. The timing would be, if everything goes on schedule, it will be open by the time I'm there. They're starting to sell tickets for it this year. So
that's the big most positive sign of it being on time. If they sell tickets, then it's going to open.
Yeah.
Especially if there's images of them building it and stuff. Because with the Nintendo parks, I was never confident that they were going to. I mean, obviously you had the pandemic and stuff, but they delayed that stuff like a couple of times.
I can, the reviews, you could write them now. It's going to be, they should make this a full park, which I'm sure they do a Space Mountain where you're getting chased by Mew and Mewtwo. Like, the amount of options you could have for a Pokemon theme park are absolutely ridiculous and endless, but we'll get there eventually. Last story here. Supermassive has delayed Directive 8020 amid a round of layoffs. The game's now coming out in 2026. I played this at SGF. I thought it was interesting. So if people haven't been keeping up with this, they're going a lot more action heavy with these games. Supermassive are the people that have made like Man of Medan and Until Dawn was their big one, and they talked a lot about the fact that in those games, when you're exploring, you're in no real threat. Like, people can't kill you, you can't lose your progress or whatever, but that is the thing in Directive 8020, where you're getting chased around by a big alien. And because of that, because obviously in these games, if you die, your run's like messed up, they let you just replay everything at any point. And it's kind of interesting. I did wonder, and I asked them about this at the time, like, will that stop people who like to just sit on the couch enjoying these games that perhaps aren't core players from enjoying it when it turns to more action? But did you ever get on with these Until Dawn likes? I really liked that, the Quarry, the one that they did with 2K. I thought that was pretty good, but
it's going to be a really short conversation because no, I've not played any of them. It's not my genre.
Yeah. See, if you go back, the cast of Until Dawn's like ridiculously stacked. Like, Rami Malek's in it and stuff like this before he did anything. But yeah, that's a quick one for you. Supermassive layoffs, and the game has been delayed. We're close to wrapping up here, and he's already buying his Shinkansen tickets as we speak. Tell me something you're going to do this time that you've not done previously in your time in Japan.
Oh, I'm going to the Kirby Cafe.
Oh, congratulations!
Which is like impossible to get booking for, right? It's Japan has this, like, if you've not been to Japan, right, like, it has this reputation of being really futuristic, but it's really not. It was like futuristic 30 years ago. So now it's like you need to fax in an application for, so if you're reserving like these theme cafes, they're like, it's literally, they will go live on the 10th of the month at 6 p.m. and then they sell out in 3 seconds because they've got no bot protection whatsoever.
Yep.
So I've had to be like, you go on holiday and then people like leave their towels on the beds. Yeah. And eventually you're just like, I have to join them. You have to be an idiot as well. So I've had to use a website that would get me a reservation. So on every previous trip, I've not been able to get one. And now I've got 2. So I need to decide when I want to go before I cancel the other one. So yeah, but that's good. What else am I doing? Just friends and looking forward to taking the kids to the Nintendo Museum. They've not been.
Has it changed since you've been, apart from the Switch 2 stuff?
I don't, honestly. It's such a niche topic. I don't think many people really care about the Nintendo Museum. Whenever I write about it, I'll talk about it. It's very little, like, but this will be the 3rd time I've been. And what I noticed with the last one, I was like, oh, this is new and this is new and this is new. How comes no one's mentioned this? Because I'm one of the only people who's been more than once, right? It's just as simple as that, because that's a lottery as well, getting tickets. And you have to know 3 months in advance that you're going to go. So it's even difficult for tourists, really, if you're going like last minute. So I would guess that I'll go, oh, they've changed this and this and this and this, purely because I'm one of the few people that's going multiple times. So I'm looking forward to taking the kids there because I think they'll really enjoy that. And obviously Donkey Kong as well, which, you know, I went to the press thing before Christmas, but this will be the first chance we've got to go as a family. So I'm looking forward to that.
I keep seeing things for the Donkey Kong exhibit, the Donkey Kong thing in the theme park, and they have an ice cream thing. I don't know if it's specifically from the theme park.
It's really nice.
It looks amazing. I kept seeing it when it was really
like
hot weather.
It's like a banana crush thing. Like, yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's good. Their hot dog thing's good as well.
So you try to keep cool in London when we were down for that gig. It was a complete non-starter. Like I was kicking about with like multiple fans, and it was not happening. I'm
going to be absolutely melting next week.
Any advance in fan tech? Are you going to have like a full body suit made of fans, or what's the plan?
I bought a Sony thing, right? Let me see if I can find out the name of it, because I'm like the RoboCop of keeping cool. It's called Sony Rion Pocket Pro, right? I saw it recently that Sony had brought out a cooling gadget. I went, right, so I've got to have this, right? And it's like it clips around your neck like a bracelet almost, right in the back of your neck, and it sits on the top of your spine, and it's like got a metal cooling pad.
Oh, nice!
And it goes ice cold. So the thing is like you can't really tell whether these gadgets are any use whatsoever until you're in 85% humidity.
Yeah.
You know, 40 degrees, because here you're like, wow, I'm really cold. But then I say, for example, I had like that silly neck fan I got last year, like the top of the range neck fan. I wore it the day I got there and then didn't wear it again, because it's like you realize in that heat I've just got a big lump of rubber around my neck. Like my face is vaguely cooler, but everything else is hotter.
Nothing in London worked better than just standing at the end of a tube carriage and having all that air
that's one of
smashing into your face.
Small pleasures.
Yeah, that's the real quiz. Well, enjoy your time in Japan. We will get your thoughts and feelings on Japan, as if people don't fucking know them by now, but we'll get your adventures when you return. Lots of interesting stuff coming up. Me and Scullion will be back next week, and beyond that, not long until I go to Pokemon World Championships. Hopefully we can get Pikachu on the podcast, but he's very hard to nail down. I thought getting Bam Margera would be the greatest Apex this podcast ever saw, but Pikachu's
he's probably
next.
Paid by Ben Starr. We can get him on.
Pikachu.
Pika.
Did you say? I think he might be in Battlefield, by the way, and I don't know this.
Yeah, I know. Someone put that on our. Have you not asked him? You should have asked him got the exclusive.
Yeah, I'll text him right now. But I've texted him before.
But that properly looks like him.
Yeah, I've got him up on WhatsApp right now. Hello, mate. Are you in Battlefield 6?
It really looks like him. Like I think he is in Battlefield.
It's weird because he's been like stuff of his has been announced or like shown a trailer of, and he's texted me being like, I can't say that I'm in this yet, and then randomly it's like, but I said to him, I was like, everyone knows your voice, like you're in everything at this point. So it's weird. If it's not him, it's a looky-likey, and it should be suing for Ben Starr infringement. But anyway, we'll try and get that news to you as we can. Until next time, patreon.com/Video Games Chronicle. Say goodbye, Andy.
Goodbye.
We'll see you next week. R.I.P. Ozzy Osbourne.